Hello guys and welcome back to our YouTube channel. So this is a slightly overdue update, to be fair, and we're going to continuously update them way quicker than this. We've had a little bit of a gap. So it's the Thursday the 4th of August today, 7 p.m. Spain time. So basically, obviously, we heard the fantastic news about 2.5 weeks ago. The little story behind that to where I'll fill you in the gap in between to get up to where we've been up to now. So basically then we were supposed to have like the pregnancy test after like 10 days. We were supposed to have that in Spain, but because we're in the UK, we'd booked in with a clinic to have a blood test, which would be the HCG test, and that will tell you officially if you're pregnant. At this point, Tay, around about that time, Tay said, like, look, I can't wait 10 days. Let's do it after 9 or 8. And then it got to like 7. And then eventually after day 5, which is so early, Tay said, look, let's just do a pregnancy test. We took the pregnancy test, and I found out after that Tay had actually took one on day 2 and day 3. She didn't tell me. I cannot believe that she would have, after all these years, test
it's
without
an addiction.
me. I just can't believe that. But anyway, obviously we got the fantastic news. So it was extremely faint, which was very hard for me to process that was obviously pregnant. Then at that point, we had to wait a couple of days to have a blood test, which we had, and that confirmed that the HCG levels were where they were supposed to be. Then we had a blood test about 4 days later to see if the HCG levels were rising, which they were. So at this point, everything's been fantastic. We've obviously been like over the moon. We haven't filmed for a couple of weeks because we've just sort of like been processing it all. We've told all our friends, our family, we've told everyone, obviously.
We've also moved we've come back from England to Spain.
Yes, and then we've come back to Spain for a little period of time, and we've gone to see the hospital, Saram, and the whole team, honestly, the best team in the world. They said they were all like jumping for joy when we got the news, because obviously we had the tests in a UK clinic and we sent them to Spain to get their verdict. Theirs was like our official verdict. Yeah. And they were like, after Taylor got her first pregnancy test, they're like, look, come on, hold on, let's wait for the official blood test. And then when we got the first one, they're like, hold on, wait for the second blood test.
They wanted to be sure.
They wanted to be sure, obviously, because they're professional. And then obviously when they got the second one, we could fully celebrate. So obviously it's so early, but that's we are documenting the whole process. So
there's no option.
It's like you're excited, but then you also think, okay, we are so early. So that's pretty much where we're up to. And about 2 days ago, we were like, right, let's film an update of where we're at and what's going on and so on. And the next scan is on Monday, which is a 6-week scan. I believe it's called like a heartbeat scan.
Sometimes you can see the heartbeat, sometimes you can't.
Yeah, so that's the first sort of major milestone.
It's our first ever scan.
First ever scan. So that's the first scan that you'd have in this process. Now we come up to the present. So the last 24, 36 hours
has been hell.
Has been, well, no, it's 24 hours has been like
the worst.
Just the worst thing. It's just been like it's just been like a nightmare, basically. So, do you want me
Can
to
you
say?
See me in the camera?
Yeah,
I can't see myself.
I can see you. You're just on the edge there.
It's fine.
You're just hanging in. So basically, like Tay had felt ill.
I feel ill. By the way, if you're looking at me thinking, I wish she'd fucking do something with herself, what does she look like? I mean, if you saw me in the UK when we first found out, I was in my element thinking, if this is how it is, it's a breeze. I feel on top of the world. There's nothing that can ever make me not feel on top of the world because we're pregnant. Well, that's all hit me like a ton of bricks now, because I really do feel pregnant now. Well, we'll take you into it, but basically, I just feel like death right now. I've got like the worst migraine and everything. But basically, the last 24 hours, for the last 48 hours, I hadn't been feeling quite right. You might have seen on an Instagram post I said I'm feeling a bit sicky, like heartburn kind of feelings. Yeah, maybe even days previous to that I said to Jack, do you know what, I think I need to eat like, I feel a bit dizzy. And at one point I was like, I'm a bit shaky. Remember that?
Yeah.
And I was like, and at this time we're just thinking, you know, this is pregnancy.
Yeah.
This is what comes with it, kind of thing. Then yesterday was a bit more like, oh, I just feel really sicky, but I was just thinking, like, kind of hungover feeling. I was just thinking, oh yeah, this is obviously just pregnancy, you know, this is what it's going to be like, and it's, you know, probably going to get worse. We just did usual things. We haven't been doing anything crazy.
We just went out for the day.
Yeah, we didn't even go out for the day, just went out for a few hours.
Some shops.
We went to go and get some food shopping.
Went to Iceland.
Yeah, and then we came in and the cats were like near the outside of our...
Let me just get the full story. Obviously this is a little bit graphic, so...
Yeah.
Or a little bit of detail, but this is like, you know, what can actually happen, so...
We were driving up the road
Yeah,
in the
so
car,
we were driving on the way back from Iceland.
and Jack sometimes goes
Sometimes
on and
I
on.
just
Like,
talk
when he
and
chat,
talk.
he can chat for England, and I was sat there thinking, I wish you would just shut up.
And
Because I felt, you know, when someone's talking to you and you feel really ill and also slightly panicky, I was like, oh my God, please stop talking. I just had to turn around to him and say, can you just stop talking for a minute, please? Because I feel really, I don't feel well. And then you were like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we were supposed
And I
to
said,
keep
can you
going
also
to
go a bit quicker?
some other shops. Yeah, and you were like, look, can you hurry home? I can't go to the other shops. I need to go home. I feel sick. I feel faint. I just don't feel right. And you didn't look right. So anyway, we pulled up home, and we always greet our cats and the neighbourhood cats outside our house. And basically, we were just sort of walking along, weren't we? And
I just knelt down to pat Snowy.
Yeah.
And then I said to you, oh, I've just had a
yeah.
gush of something.
I
Like,
could feel something.
it just out my, you know, we're all friends here, in my knickers, I just felt like a gush. And immediately, it was like a warm feeling.
And the thing is, when you're taking a lot of IVF medicine, you have to take certain tablets and stuff like that, which can...
Yeah.
That once you put them in, obviously pessaries, they can come out. But that's normally within like half an hour.
Yeah,
This is the middle of the day.
Yeah. So when I said that, I said, oh, I just felt a gush of something. You went, oh, it's probably just the pessary. I went, oh, I've never felt it like that before. Literally, we marched. Didn't
When
we?
you
We
said
marched
that,
into the
my heart,
Sorry.
I knew 100% something wasn't right. I know I said that, but I was just saying that out of like defence. But my heart, my whole body just went.
You got like a out of body feeling from your head to your
and I
toes.
was like, oh my God. So obviously
we marched into the front door, and I hadn't even shut the front door, and I pulled my shorts down, and I saw that there was like bright red blood all in my pants, all in my shorts, and I said to Jack, oh my God, it's blood. Started crying, obviously, really panicking. We both were. I went and got on the toilet. As I was wiping, there was just more and more
horrific.
blood. I mean, there was blood dropping all over the floor of the bathroom.
It just
and
looked...
automatically I said, we're having a miscarriage. There's no other possible answer.
Yeah.
It's obviously...
You'd had spotting, like you know you can have spotting from an implantation, and you can generally get like a little bit of spotting.
And 2 days previous to that, I'd been checking with Joanna, who's the assistant to Dr. Benito, saying, look, I've got a little bit of spotting, is this normal? She said, yeah, no problem. Had it for 2 days straight. Not all the time, like, but just...
But it's like tiny amount.
But I'd already had spotting when we were back in England, only 4 days after I found out I was pregnant. So I thought that was like, yep, had my implantation. Like, I was thinking, this can't be... I did say to you, it's a bit weird that it would be happening again.
But when you're looking at the amount, you're like, oh, do you know what, that's nothing. But then when obviously Tay got into the toilet and we were looking at what, you know, how much blood was basically coming out, we were like, it was horrifying, but it was just horrifying, because obviously it was just devastating, because we were like praying, like, please, like, no more blood. And then there was just more blood, wasn't there? And more just blood. And it was just basically like wiping just... So obviously at that point, we were both devastated.
We just assumed the worst.
And then we started obviously sending pictures, sending them to the clinic. Both of the assistant Joanna and our Dr. Benito are actually on holiday this week.
She's so unlucky.
Which is unlucky,
Bless
but
them.
fair play to them. I mean, she got back to us probably within an hour. And
Not
then,
even that.
yeah, and then Dr. Benito was a couple of hours later. And basically, obviously, we were just laying there, like, you know, just checking, like, is there more blood? And then there was just more and more and more. So we were like...
And clots as well.
Yeah, we're obviously then on Google saying, like, you know,
And
how
at this
much blood is
point-
acceptable. And it's like...
At this point, I was just lying down, literally staring into space, thinking, I cannot believe that this is... Like, I just cannot physically believe this is happening. When it's just like all of our dreams have just come true, and then all of a sudden it's just gone like this. I just like I couldn't even process it. And then you were obviously on your phone,
I
going
was
through
just
every single page
everything,
on Google.
like how much, trying to find out like how much
blood is normal.
blood is normal and when and at what dates, because different things, like if you're in the first trimester, you don't expect blood, but it's better if the blood's after 6 weeks, because then you have a higher chance of it being okay. Literally hours and hours, just the whole night basically.
Yeah, we weren't speaking for a little bit, and then I said to you, you know what, I've actually had a lot of symptoms of miscarriage. And that's when you said, no, you have. I've been looking into it. You hadn't spoke about this to me at the time, but you went, no, you have. You've had the dizziness, the faintness.
You had like stomach cramps, like
yeah,
you felt
and he was like, you've
basically
literally
period.
had every single symptom of
So
miscarriage.
we were then thinking all the symptoms that we thought were pregnancy were actually miscarriage.
Yeah, for the last couple of days.
So eventually we got a call from Dr. Benito, which gave us a tiny bit of hope, which was, he said, look, he's done this for years and years and years. And he said, people have bled. Women have bled that
like
much.
This and more.
And they've still got pregnant. So he said, look, the thing you have to do is get a HCG test.
Yeah.
And let us know if there's any more bleeding. So we booked a HCG test for today at 9 a.m. And then...
There hadn't been any more bleeding overnight, but if
hadn't-
I wiped, there was still blood on the tissue, but it was like faint.
Yeah.
There wasn't any... Since that first gushing, there was no more after that first initial time that we were on the toilet.
But then this morning there was a bit more.
There was a little bit, and there was also some
Like clotting and...
brown
I mean,
clots.
sorry, it sounds disgusting, but it was... yeah. It just...
And
we were
we
like,
just
if there's
said-
any more in the morning... Like, I just can't see a way out of this. I can't see how this...
No. We had to say to each other, we know what this is.
Yeah.
This is just what we're going to have to deal with. We've been having, you know, obviously really heartfelt conversations, saying, you know, trying to make ourselves feel better, saying, you know, at least we've got each other, we're both healthy, we'll do it again.
That's it. Whenever, like, things get into an absolute state, or, you know, you're in a terrible way, you always just have to take a step back.
Bring it back to your health.
Obviously you can be emotional because it's an emotional situation, but just think of everything good that you've got. We've got each other, we're healthy, we've got other opportunities to do it again. You know, it's not a definitive no. We've got further than we ever have. We've never had a positive pregnancy test.
Yeah.
So...
And as much as, you know, I was listening to this and thinking, yeah, I need this, at the same time you're just thinking... Like, I just don't want to go through all of that again. The thought of doing it all again, and, you know, it's very hard to think logically like that when...
I always say it's very, very easy for me to come in with my positive pitch and say, oh, you know, we've got our dogs and it's this and this, because...
And you do need that, because if...
That's all I can do,
Yeah.
because there's like, you're looking at the situation, you're thinking, you know, we're screwed at this, what else can you do? But it's 10 times harder for the women through this, because... It's your whole body and your hormones, everything. You're taking the medication. You got to do the medication. You got to go through the whole thing again. So that is basically where we were this morning. Now,
yeah, it's been a heartbreaking day.
It's just been. So we went into the test today, had the blood test at 9. We've prepared ourselves 100% that, like, look. Let's just accept it.
We told ourselves not to hold on to any slight hope, not even that Dr. Benito's given us, because we just thought, how the hell can this become a positive after everything.
Well,
we've
yeah,
seen over the
well, I
last
think we were
24
more
hours.
sort of self-defending ourselves by saying, look, let's just prepare for no.
Yeah.
Let's not try and think, the more we read it was just getting deeper.
Yeah.
So then we've waited all day until about 6 o'clock today. We've actually staying in a hotel. We sort of had this planned, we've got some painters at our house and we had this planned as sort of a little celebratory getaway, but it turned to just a sort of getaway. I was out going to go and get a few bits of pieces, and basically I had a call from the hospital Saram, and they have just called and basically said that Tay's HCG levels are where they should be. So obviously I've called you and we've
Crying.
obviously just absolutely
Embrace.
ecstatic. We're still in shock. I'm still numb and
I have nothing in me. Like I've got nothing left.
no.
I
So
have nothing to give. It's the best possible news that could ever be in the world. But what we've been through the last 24 hours, you just can't even feel it. I just said to Jack, you know what? Once we've had a sleep tonight and everything, we'll wake up and we'll really feel it.
yeah, we couldn't. I just couldn't believe it. Like, obviously, when they said the news, I was literally just absolutely just shook. I've never we were praying, our family were praying, everyone was just praying. And when we got the news, obviously, I rang you, and it's just been crazy.
Oh,
So
I couldn't even speak. It's just.
And basically, tomorrow they said, look, your scan is on Monday, but we know you're absolutely panicking now. Let's have the scan tomorrow at 5:30.
Yep.
So we're going to have the scan at 5:30 tomorrow. We will record from then, an update from then. Like when it was sort of bad news, like the camera, we've not really wanted to get it out. Obviously now it's gone back to positive. We're going to try and film as much as we can. It's great news. It's all just a little bit up in the air. On paper
I'm not
now.
taking it 100% as gospel until I see the scan.
But what we have to think now is on paper, the HCG is exactly what it needs to be. So
It's actually higher than where
it's
it
higher.
should be.
So we need to be like, okay, this is great. Let's not think about what's happened the last 2 days. Let's just think about the
let's just
actual
move forward
facts.
now.
And the facts are, you're all good. So after the scan tomorrow, if that's good to go,
I'm going to go
I'm going to
into this
forget
fresh
about
again,
that
yeah.
thing and go like, okay, it's all
That
fake,
was just a
because
thing.
that was just Now, so that's pretty much where we're at.
As you can see, we're a bit emotionally
a bit weird, aren't we? I feel really weird chatting.
we need to update you because this is just what it is. It just is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's I think tomorrow, once we've had some sleep and we've recovered from the last 24 hours, we'll actually feel good again.
Back to
But
normal.
right now, I'm just numb.
Yeah, it was just.
It's very hard to process any of it. It was hard to process that. We thought it was a miscarriage because I thought, I just don't understand how. It was such a blinding thing that it just didn't see coming. So now it's hard to rewind that and think, it's okay. So.
And I tell you what, now I understand other people that have had IVF 5 times and other people that had miscarriages.
You just can't even
grasping the actual reality of what they're going through now. Obviously we've not been through it, but it's a crazy situation. So
we'll see you at the scan
love you
tomorrow.
all, and we will film the scan tomorrow, and
hopefully it's good news.
Yeah, and what we're gonna do is, rather than posting once a month, we're just gonna upload the videos as
because
things
we've got a
happening.
new in-house editor.
So the videos won't be as good quality editing because our other editor is the best in the world, but they're just going to be more regular. So love you all. See you tomorrow.